They mocked him until he was the only one who could save their friend's life. It was a bright summer afternoon at Sunset Beach, with the warm sun glistening off the calm ocean waves. Laughter filled the air as groups of friends and family scattered across the sand, enjoying the perfect beach day. Among the crowd was a group of 5 young women, seated near the shore, chatting and laughing loudly. They were carefree, enjoying their time together under the clear blue sky. Not far from them, a young black man named Darius walked along the beach, carrying a surfboard under his arm. Darius wasn't someone who stood out at first glance. He was quiet, often keeping to himself, and didn't seek much attention. He wore a simple t shirt and swim trunks, his tall, athletic frame casting a shadow over the sand as he made his way toward the water. The group of young women, noticing Darius, started whispering and giggling amongst themselves. One of them, a girl named Tessa, spoke up loud enough for him to hear. "Look at him, acting like he knows how to surf. I bet he's just trying to impress someone." The others joined in, chuckling. Darius glanced their way but said nothing. He had long since learned to brush off comments like these. The world didn't always treat him kindly, and he knew it wasn't worth engaging. He continued walking toward the ocean, his heart set out on catching some waves. But the women weren't done. "Why does he even bother coming here?" one of them remarked. "This isn't his scene." Tessa stood up, waving her hand in a mocking gesture. "Hey, surfer dude, maybe you shouldn't just stick to the shallow end." The group burst into laughter, but Darius ignored them, his focus on the water ahead. He knew that their words, as hurtful as they might be, spoke more about the insecurities than about him. As the afternoon sun started to descend, casting a golden glow over the beach, Darius paddled out into the ocean, skillfully navigating the waves. He was an excellent surfer, but he didn't do it for show. Surfing was his escape, a way to feel connected to something bigger than himself, a way to clear his mind from the noise of the world. Meanwhile, the group of girls continued their chatter, oblivious to the beauty of the sunset unfolding before them. Suddenly, one of the girls, Casey, stood up, her face paling as she pointed out toward the water. "Where's Chloe?" Tessa turned her head toward the ocean, her eyes widening in panic. "She went for a swim, but I don't see her." The mood shifted instantly from playful to tense as they all rushed to the water's edge, scanning the horizon. Chloe, one of their friends, had ventured out into the sea on her own earlier, not thinking much of the tide, but now she was nowhere to be seen. "Chloe!" they shouted, their voices trembling as they desperately searched the waves. The playful energy from earlier had vanished, replaced by fear and desperation. The waves were growing rougher, the tide pulling stronger, and the sun was starting to dip beneath the horizon, casting long shadows over the water. Darius, still out in the water, spotted something strange from the corner of his eye. Farther down the beach, he saw someone struggling in the water, their arms flailing as they tried to stay above the waves. Without hesitation, Darius turned his surfboard toward the figure and began paddling as fast as he could. It didn't take him long to realize it was a young woman caught in a rip current, unable to fight the powerful pull of the ocean. Back on the shore, the group of women was in full panic, screaming for help as they realized Chloe was in serious trouble. But no one seemed to notice their cries except Darius. As Darius approached Chloe, the waves grew more violent, crashing against him as he fought his way closer. He called out to her, "Hold on, I'm coming!" Chloe's eyes were wide with fear, her energy draining as she struggled to keep her head above the water. Darius finally reached her, grabbing her arm and pulling her onto his surfboard. "You're safe now, just hold on tight," he reassured her. With Chloe clutching onto the board, Darius skillfully navigated back toward the shore, using all his strength to push through the relentless waves. The ocean seemed determined to keep them, each wave crashing harder than the last. But Darius was strong and focused, refusing to let fear take hold. He had faced struggles before, challenges that tested his limits, and he channeled that inner strength into each stroke toward the shore. When they finally reached the shallow waters, Chloe collapsed onto the sand, gasping for air, her face pale but alive. Her friends rushed to her side, tears streaming down their faces as they hugged her tightly. Darius, drenched and breathing heavily, quietly picked up his surfboard and began to walk away. But before he could disappear into the crowd, Tessa ran up to him, her face filled with a mixture of shame and gratitude. I don't know what to say, Tessa stammered, her voice trembling. I'm sorry. We were so wrong to laugh at you. You saved her life. Thank you. Darius gave her a small, humble smile. It's all right. I'm just glad she's okay. The other girls gathered around, all of them now realizing the weight of their earlier actions. Tessa stepped forward again, her voice softer this time. You're a hero. We'll never forget what you did. He nodded, appreciating the words but not lingering on the praise. With a final glance at Chloe, who was now sitting up and recovering, Darius walked back toward the beach parking lot, the setting sun casting a warm glow behind him. As Darius left Sunset Beach that evening, the sky painted in hues of orange and pink, the world seemed a little quieter. The group of young women, no more aware of their own flaws, watched him walk away in silence, humbled by the day's events. For them, the day had started with careless mockery, but it ended with a powerful lesson in humility and heroism. They sat on the sand long after Darius had gone, reflecting on their behavior. Tessa spoke softly, breaking the silence. We judged him without knowing him, and he's the reason Chloe's still with us. Casey nodded, her eyes misty. Maybe we all need to look beyond our own small worlds. And for Darius, it was just another day. He didn't need recognition or applause. He knew who he was, someone who stood tall in the face of cruelty and prejudice. And sometimes, being who you are is enough to change everything. As he reached his car, he turned back to look at the ocean one last time, feeling the peace that came after a storm. It was then that he realized that perhaps he wasn't just riding the waves today. He was helping others find their way too.